Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to the Studio Rats live Q&A.
Howdy doody.
Who's in the house? Who's in the house?
So far, absolutely nobody.
What?
You've got to love it.
There's no one watching.
There's no one watching. What is that all about?
Really?
Oh,
No,
Larry North's in.
I just don't think it's not showing.
It's not coming up.
There's always people. All right, Larry North. See, Hank's in the house.
Hank's in. Thank you for joining us, everyone. We have a few things to cover. What I will do is I will post the link into the comments. If you fancy joining us for a chat, step in. We can enter you into the wonder that is our live stream chat. Few things to talk about though to get us going. Hey, Paul, what have you been up to this week?
Oh, that's a good one. I bought a new pedal.
All right, what you got?
I bought a Exotic Effects BB preamp.
Ooh,
yeah,
sounds exotic. Can you show us, or is it surgically attached to the?
It's Velcro attached at the moment.
Right.
It's the Andy Timmons edition as well. It's quite nice. It's nice. Yeah, it's really nice actually.
And what does it do? Is it just a Tony shapy preampy thing, or is it?
Yeah, it's like it says BB. I think it's supposed to be like a blues breaker. I think it's modelled on that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But nice. I seem to be just on this hunt for this. I don't know, this like mid overdrive. I just got loads of them, and I keep buying them. I don't know what it is.
The elusive breakup tone.
Well, yeah, it's probably yes, but this does that. This does do like everything from like a clean boost to quite raucous.
Right.
It's really good actually. It's really good actually. But then is it a lot different to, I don't know, a tube screamer or something else? Probably not.
The plumes is that the?
Yeah, the plumes. Yeah, I've got the plumes. Yeah, I use that as well. Yeah, it's great. What I really want is one of those. We talked about it earlier, the Jackson Audio ones.
Yes.
The Jackson Audio ones. But every time I get in contact with them, they don't get back to me.
Well, there's a reason, isn't it? They're in Texas and they're under 6 feet of snow.
Well, even the distributors in the UK don't. So
yeah, because they haven't got any, because the manufacturer is under 6 feet of snow. I spoke to them today. You are on the list. You're on the list to get one.
Oh, really? Oh, cool. Oh, that'd be cool. Yep. Well done. That'd be fabulous.
About you. I was digging some dirt on some stuff. So yeah.
Oh, nice.
I have been.
Yeah, sorry, man. What have you been doing?
Well, other than having the most stressful week of my life, and that's all house stuff, and it's very boring, and hopefully the stress is slightly alleviated now. More on that as we progress further down the passage of time. I've been mainly in kind of video territory, so I did a video for us for the site for YouTube on my favorite drum plugin, which is good. The CLA drums. So hopefully a few people have watched that and enjoyed it. I've been doing some videos for the guys at Antelope Audio and for Studio Spares. My Studio Spares UF8 video has had 15,000 views in a week.
God, that's good. Nice one.
Yeah,
that's
really
good.
Nice. They are pleased, as am I.
Yeah.
So there's been quite a lot of news, actual factual stuff that's been going on in our world this week. The big moment came over the weekend when Aston Microphones announced that they've said teamed up with and merged with the rest of the audio community is saying bought by Music Tribe or Music Group, also known as Behringer.
Do you reckon? I mean, like seriously, if it was any other industry and it was in the UK, they'd have taken them to what do they call it when there's like
mergers commission?
That's it. Because they're buying up everything at the moment, aren't they?
Yep. And it's funny. If Jack was on the live stream with us, he would be defending Behringer to the hilt because of what they're doing in the synth market.
Yeah.
but it's very well. It put it like this: it's not been well received in the pro audio market. The number of people who have been saying things like, "Well, that's the end of that brand." Then any stock that's in the system has just been halved in value. People saying things like, "Right, well, that's Aston are known for being a British brand and British manufacturing, and they're trading on that, and they're now going to be production shipped out to China and done in the Uber Uli Behringer factories."
It's a shame, isn't it?
It's a weird one.
Shame.
They're claiming that it's business as usual and nothing will change. Let's give it 6 months, shall we? Because we know what happened with Midas, Clark Technic, TC, Tannoy. These companies now exist in name alone.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not a fan of Behringer at all. But I think the Midas thing, he actually did quite good with that. He did a good job with that. You know, like importing it into the X32 and stuff. And
yeah, I mean, but I think what it's done at every stage is it's whether you see it as a cheapening of the brand by taking this high-end tech, making it with not so superior components and putting it into a box that's $2,000. So the X32, in my opinion, is a fantastic box, a fantastic mixer, great sounding box. It is bomb-proof for the half decent function band circuit.
Yeah.
More than just your Mackie 8 channel. You've got lots going on. You've got to feed lots of people, but you're not going to go out and buy a full-on an Avid live console or a Digico or something like that.
Yeah.
For that space, it's an awesome thing.
Yeah,
but I get why Behringer would do it. It's they don't have a microphone brand at the moment,
don't they?
They don't have a mic brand. I get why they do it. I mean, I don't think Aston have only been around 5 years, so hats off to James for being able to turn that one around.
Yeah, definitely,
and effectively sell the company. But as far as a merger is concerned, I don't see it. I'd love to be proven wrong. I'd love for Aston to go from strength to strength as Aston, but history is not on their side.
No. I'm with you on that. I think it's probably not the best thing. We've got a few questions in. We've got loads of people commenting.
Great.
First one, John Green says, "Where is Jack?" Now I was expecting this last week.
Yep.
Go on, you go.
Jack has taken a leave of absence. He is quite overworked and a bit stressed with all his studio stuff at the moment. So we said, chill. There's no pressure. It's a Wednesday night thing. It's not something to get stressed about. So we've given him Wednesday nights back. His Wednesday nights back.
Well, yeah, definitely, yeah. Jack can. Yeah, Jack's welcome whenever he wants to come on. Obviously. Yep. Okay, we've got lots of highs. Oh, someone from Brisbane.
Oh, awesome!
Is in the house.
Stephen James. Is that the Stephen James that I know? Because if it's Stephen James, as in with his wife Rosemary, or is it another Stephen James who just happens to live in Australia? I mean, who knew?
Hank says, Paul, have you tried the exotic super suite? Tim Pierce is using that a lot now with his old Mostortion and Nobles. Oh, interesting. I haven't tried the super suite. I've got I've got the XP compressor. Their stuff's great, actually. It's not cheap, but it's good. Exotic effects are good.
Nice.
Overdrive Guitar Channel says, Wampler Euphoria was my favorite pedal. Sold it like a moron. Luckily, you can pick them up.
I had one of those, and because it sounded actually very similar to my what's it called, the tube thing I've got, the RTD 800 by Maxon. It sounds very similar to that, and because the Maxon has got overdrive and distortion in one unit, I kept it and got rid of the Wampler.
Awesome. Okay, Larry says, try the Golden Boy, Paul. Blues Breaker and POT. What's a POT?
POT.
Pod,
Pod.
pod.
POT.
You can let us know.
Come on, Greg. Let us know.
Yeah, let us know, Greg. The Golden Boy. I was thinking about the Golden Boy, but then I think I've got so many tube screamers. I've got so many tube screamer type pedals that I just don't need that. What I need is a versatile distortion pedal, which that's why I'm looking at the Asabi.
Right. Oh, nice.
Yes.
You know what? I actually found myself using for the second time since I bought it, using my fuzz face the other day. And I forgot how much I love that pedal.
Oh, nice.
It's instant Hendrix.
Yeah, great.
And actually, it was something you said as well. It was get a Univibe on it, Univibe and a fuzz face, instant Hendrix.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Hold on a second. Right. Okay. Where are we? Because, God, we get so many more questions coming there.
POT, I think, thanks to Lefty Mike, is Prince of Tone, not
Prince of Tone. Oh, okay, like the King of Tone. Okay, a single channel King of Tone.
Half a King of Tone.
Half a King of Tone. Right. Where are we?
For making us look stupid.
Okay, people saying hi everyone. Just wondering if you could make up your next Katana Mark II pack a great, clean, and dirty rockabilly patch. That's interesting.
Rockabilly patch. That's a tight delay sort of sound, isn't it? That sort of da sort of sound.
Slapback delays. Yeah, I can do that, Stephen. I'll have a look at that.
Cool.
I need to do another patch set, so yes, I will definitely go into that. I'll try and do that this week if I can. If not, it takes a few days to do.
It's not as quick as just going make a patch, is it? Because you've got to get everything else in that stack right.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
it takes a bit of time, but yes, I will definitely be looking at that in the next week or so. Evening, guys. Hi, everyone. Antitrust, Monopolies Commission. Blah 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 blah. Sorry, guys. I know this is. I finally got my hands on the CXM 9078. Oh, nice. Unfortunately, I have to wait for the power supplies. What? Does that not ship with the power supply, or does it not run off a standard sort of pedal?
I wonder if it comes with was a US and it needs a UK or some variation of that.
Analog for Life's in the US though.
Oh, is he? Okay, maybe it comes with a UK power supply and it needs the US, because you can't just go and plug out any old 240 volt into 110.
Yeah, but there won't be. It'll be like a 9 volt, I'd have thought, or an 18, and it would just come from a standard sort of pedal power supply. But let us know.
No, just Stephen James, not that.
Curious on your thoughts on the Capture X. Bloody love it, Max. So I've spoken to Jeremy, the lovely guy at Two Notes, and he is sending me one. So So yeah, there's a few buzzing about at the moment. He's just got to hunt one down and then send it to me. So it was either going to be sent to me this week or early next week. We're hoping. Prince of Tone, Arthur King of Tone. 1981 drive you would really like, Paul.
A 1981.
What's the 19? Sorry, Safi, I've forgotten. What was the question? I've got the attention span of a 2-year-old.
Who said that? Wasn't it effects pedals we would like? So I'm assuming 1981 is an effects pedal along the lines of a 1984 kind of sound, perhaps. Who knows?
Okay, where are we? Look at the Electrody Blackbird, Paul. I will do. I'll have a look at that. Exotic XL Drive 2. Yeah, it's great. Exotic stuff's great. I wonder if all these overdrives become redundant once you get the Quad Cortex. Mike says, yes, that's possibly true.
I'm getting quite frustrated at how much I want that now, because I'm starting to think, what gear can I mothball for an amount of time so I can still have a rig set up at home when we move, but I can put this lot into storage, or a lot of it into storage, so I haven't got 15 guitar amps at home, because I don't need that many, and I actually am getting towards that many things. If I had the Quad Cortex for guitars, the what's it called? The Dark Glass bass amp for my bass tones.
Yeah.
Real drum kit, maybe the Synergy or maybe the Chandler, because the Chandler is so different to anything else.
Right.
And the Ox. So if I do want a real amp, I've got that.
Yeah.
I can probably mothball for a couple of months the desk, most of the hardware. I've got to keep the interfaces because obviously I'm working with brands and I need their interfaces. But I think I can get rid of a lot of kit. What I'll probably do is end up scaring myself how little kit I actually need.
I think you will. I mean, are you going to have a drum kit set up?
Yes.
Okay, so you are going to need some pre's, aren't you?
But I've got 16 pre's in the Goliath.
That's true. Yeah.
Ollie from Bigger Boat, big shout out to my man Ollie, is going to loan me, sell me quite cheap, a Tatrix Gobo rig for the kit.
A what?
You hear the Tatrix Gobos, those stackable Gobos that you can build.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to sell me, I think it's a kit that's currently with Noel Gallagher while Noel is waiting for his custom colors to be done. Of course he is. I'm going to get that set.
Think when you get that then.
Yeah. I'm going to get that set.
Yeah.
Which I can then build a little drum room in my living room out of.
Yeah, nice. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'll still be able to have real kit at home, even though the house won't be rigged up for it yet. I won't be able to play as much as I am now, but if I need to do a recording or a job, I can still do it.
It's a semi, isn't it? The house you're buying?
Yes, but the living room's on the living room I'm having is the unattached.
Oh, great! That's great.
Yeah, and behind that living room there's no neighbours for about 50 feet, so yeah, should be all right. So basically, the Quad Cortex could be my entire guitar solution.
I personally think that's what you should do. I wouldn't worry about anything else, because if you were like, if you were a guitarist,
if I was Tim Pierce, yeah, it's different, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't. I think you'd be fine, mate. Larry says, just venting my inner geek, James, in the nicest possible way. You two can run rings around most of us in the field. I can't remember what we were talking about then.
Oh, I think it was us being derogatory of our geekness and remembering the numbers and stuff like that. Yeah. I think actually we can geek for most of Western Europe if we tried hard enough.
Oh yeah, definitely. Analog for Life said this is the reverb unit. It doesn't come with power supply and it's center negative. I think if you buy a one of those one spot power supplies, they come with a bunch of cables and one of them is center negative.
And so does the Voodoo Labs pedal power too.
Yeah, I think they come with. Yeah. Andy Johns, thought on the Katana's built-in noise suppressor and global EQs versus EQing each patch individually. I would use global EQs if like, how can I explain it? If you're at a gig, and I know this isn't very easy to do on the Katana, but if you're at a gig and you set up your patches and then your patches needed some extra help, or they needed some taming or that sort of stuff, then that's what I would use global EQs for.
The number of times I've been on gigs, and we've gone, oh God, the guitar is too much. So normally in that environment, you dive for the EQ on the console, and that's the same thing, isn't it? It's basically it's a bit like saying, right, there's too much bass in the entire guitarness of this room, so let's just wind down a bit.
Yeah. Okay. Max Hodges says, known Jeremy for
long time no see, sir.
He's known Jeremy for decades. Jeremy's a lovely man.
I too have known Jezza for since his DV days. So yes.
What DV did he work at?
He was the chief buyer for DV.
Oh, was he? Oh, nice.
So the day one of, I think it was either Music Live in London or the Limbs show or something like that, one of the Birmingham shows, and we just had the first batch of 11 racks come through, and I demoed the 11 rack to Jezza first thing on the first day of the show. DV bought the entire from Avid in one hit.
Did he? Amazing. Let's have a look. Overdrive. Oh God, they keep going up. All the questions keep coming in. It keeps going up. Overdrive Guitar Channel 1981 is a rat style circuit. Nice.
That'd be fun.
The distortion, Safety says, the distortion pedal pull you may be seeking. Nice. Oh, okay. I'll have a look at that. Typical routine: bin the demo presets and start from scratch with the cabin impulses.
Yep, absolutely right, Max. You're bang on the money. The presets are always so overcooked. I remember, I think is it ART? They were black and pink, weren't they?
Yeah.
I remember having one of those for about 2 weeks and thinking this is the greatest thing in the world. And then one by one taking the effects off the preset and going, God, this sounds awful.
I had a few arts. Did you have I had the 2000, the big 2U one?
That's what I had. Yeah. That's what I had. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't chug, did it? It's always sounded a bit flubby. I had the foot controller as well with the 2 pedals.
I didn't have that, but I had the. Do you know the best of those kind of? I suppose this was a bit later. I had a Johnson J station, which was the Johnson equivalent of a pod of a Line 6 pod. Yeah. And do you know what? That thing was so usable. I used to gig with it on ships because it was so usable.
I remember the amp. I remember the actual. I had a friend that had the amp.
I nearly bought the amp. There was one of those gone on eBay the other day, and I thought, I remember the J station being really, really good, but I don't think I'd think it was really good now.
It's basically, I think the amp had some Digitech processing in it, from what I remember. Yeah,
Johnson was Soldano, wasn't it? He was the main designing guy from Soldano. I'm pretty sure.
Was it?
There was some Soldano link there somewhere.
Oh, interesting. I've never heard. Is it Mike Soldano? I've never heard him mention that, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
Hank says, James, thanks for answering his question on the CLA drums video. Have you done a video before about getting drums to set in a mix for a few different scenarios?
I haven't, because I haven't. I guess that one was if I want that kind of really upfront processed rock and roll drum sound, CLA drums gets it for me. Now I can fairly safely say Paul was surprised how good the drums sounded with that plugin, weren't you?
Yeah, I've always avoided it. I was quite surprised. I like the way you could get pretty much whatever you wanted out of it. I don't quite understand some things about it. Like the faders are in the middle, and you'd think that is sort of 0,
but it's not. No,
and then it's almost like, like if you switch on like the subsetting, you could take away the subsetting.
Yeah,
but some of the things don't make sense to me. So, but no, it sounded great. It sounded really good.
It's funny. It's one of those people. It's a Marmite plugin. You love it or you hate it.
Yeah, I think lots of people consider it. It's one of those sort. Yeah, and it's a ridiculous thing. If it sounds good, yeah, I think I couldn't give a monkeys if I could get it to sound good by using that, or if it took me 10 other plugins or something else to get the same sound.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, great. John says the link for the electrode, Paul. I don't think the link came through, John. For some reason, maybe you can't link on this. Maybe they can't link.
I don't think they can. No, we can, but they can't.
John, yeah, maybe you can send me a message some other way. Analog for Life. Oh, he has ordered the one spot. Brilliant.
All right, cool.
Yeah, you like that? I've got a few of those. They're good. Max Hodges, before he was group. Paul, if you're making up new patches pack, is it possible to get the deep simmer rev P012 from the Boss GT1000 core? Make it for the Katana. I don't think. I mean, I'll have a check. I don't think there is a shimmer. If you mean shimmer,
yeah, I think it's supposed to be shimmer. I don't think you can get a shimmer verb out of the Katana, can you?
I'll have a look. There might be a way of running some sort of pitch shifting chorus effect through it. I'll have a look. Let me have a look at that. SGX. That's it. The SGX 2000. That was the art thing.
That was the one. Yes. SGX 2000. It was good, and I remember thinking, this thing sounds great. And then a mate of mine bought the Digitech version. Digitech did a 2U one with a silver face thing. It looked amazing. And it was another one of those where they put every single effect on the first 7 or 8 patches, and you went, wow, this is incredible. for an 8-year-old kid in their bedroom. Not so great for playing in an actual band.
Do you know what? I started using those sort of multi. I think the first one I bought was the Quad Reverb GT,
yeah,
the GT, which was terrible. Had the worst overdrive circuit.
The overdrives were awful, weren't they?
Oh, it was awful. And then I went to the Art, and then I realized actually you're better off buying different units. So you have like, you know, your preamp unit, and then so the first one I bought was a Marshall JMP1.
JMP1, yeah,
which I thought was good. And then I went, oh no. Then I bought. Actually, I can't remember what that was called. One with the Hush units, Rocktron. I had a Rocktron, and then I bought an ADA MP1, and that thing was amazing. And I want again, I want an ADA MP1 because that's a Nuno Betancourt sound.
Yes, that is a mate of mine on the we were on 2 bands doing the Southern Spain circuit for a couple of summers, and that was his guitar sound. We had guitar amps and stuff, and he turned up with that, and we went, that guitar sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm going to tell you a funny story. I'm going to tell you one of my funniest rock and roll stories.
I
was 17, 18, and my grandparents used to have a villa down in Spain, so we knew we could get accommodation. Nice. And me and my old band drove down to Spain in our band van, did a couple of gigs on the way, and we booked, you know, just doing pub gigs, and it was a 4-piece, so we were doing pub rock covers in Spain. A great night. And a friend of mine at one of the bars said, Tivoli need a band for tonight. Now, Tivoli World is a kind of theme park near Torremolinos. But because it's Spain, it happens at night. So there's a thing called El Pasaj por Terror, and it's like the ghost train, but you walk through and there's people coming out with axes and stuff. It's really, really cool. You know, it was an amazing place. But they've got a big kind of bowl amphitheater type thing, and they have bands on, and they have some sort of fairly big name bands on. But they get sort of local bands and touring bands to come and do the support slot. So we got booked to do support at this open air Spanish theme park, thinking, well, it's got to be worth a laugh, and it'll get some tickets for the theme park so we can go on the rides and stuff if we want to. So we get there, and there's a big curtain up behind where we're going to play. And I'm like, who are we supporting? I look around, and there's like, you know, proper kid in a candy store. There's huge drums, percussion, like keyboard rigs, brass, backing vocals, more guitars and guitar rigs than you've ever seen. And I went, whoever's on after us, fuck the rides. I'm staying. We do our set with the house PA, and it's all great, and we have a great laugh. You know, proper pub rock covers. We load the van, and I'm like, I don't know who's on after us, but I'm staying. So we go to the bar, get a beer, and I hear, "Bap bap, come on everybody, baby, do that conga," and we're supporting the Miami Sound Machine with Gloria Estefan.
Well, and Gloria Estefan was doing it. Was she? Was she? Oh, awesome.
She was still young and hot then. It was amazing. It was one of those, you know, the gigs that will go down in history when you thought, hang on a second, we turn up to do a pub gig, end up doing this thing, and we're supporting her. It was amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, nice one.
Sorry, sidetracked.
It's all right. David Bro says, Paul, I missed your final thoughts overall about the neural DSP Quad Cortex. Quickly, yes or no? Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
We both ordered one, so
yeah, it's really good. I don't think it's not perfect. It's not perfect by any means, but I think with the updates, I think it will be. I think it's really good. The interface is inspired. I think the way that touchscreen and the foot pedals are the control knobs. It's really well done. But I did get in trouble. Do you know what? I got in trouble for releasing that video.
Did you?
So
why?
Yeah. Well, I probably shouldn't be saying this on the live Q&A. Basically, I'm going to anyway because I've already upset them. So, yeah. So basically, Neural DSP have got their approved guys. Okay, so basically, what that means,
we're not part of the media press pool, are we?
Exactly, and what that means is we haven't got enough. Basically, what they're saying is we're going to give these to the big guys out there, the Rhett Scholls, the Peak Thorns, etc., etc. Big guys, you know, with the big YouTube channels. And what's happened is a lot of these guys, well, a few of these guys have come back and they haven't been, they've been honest about, the way that they felt about some of the downfalls of it. Trying to be politically correct.
Basically, they're giving it to people hoping they're going to get nothing but glowing reviews, and those people who are the creme de la creme of what we do are actually picking holes in it.
And to me, on Neural DSP's defense, I personally think if you're given a unit that's a sizable amount of money. Now, I'm not saying you should lie about this. I wouldn't go onto YouTube and say this thing's brilliant when they don't believe it is. But I would have gone back to Neural DSP and said, sorry guys, I really think before I can give you the review that I think you want, I think you need to change this, you need to change this.
Absolutely.
As opposed to going blah, 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 blah. Because to me it seems like a lot of those reviews are done because I think people like to give negative reviews because it creates views and numbers.
I don't know. I say genuinely, I don't think the perfect product has yet been invented.
Okay, but it is really good. It is really good, and I know it's gonna be really good. It sounds really good, and it is really good. But anyway, the reason I got into trouble was because we're not one of those guys. I managed to get one for a couple of hours, and in that time, I did I recorded a video, and then I got in contact with Neural DSP, and I said, I've done a video on this. Are you okay if I release it? And he said no. To be honest, I'm not, because there are people asking. There are other people that are asking for the unit, and I'm having to tell them that they can't have the unit because there aren't the units out there. So,
which is worrying, considering I put a deposit on one back in November.
Yeah, and then what happens? So then I sort of respected them, and then I thought, well, hold on a second, you're telling me that I can't put a video out on my own channel. You haven't got, you've got no right to tell me that I can or I can't do something. But because of the other person that was involved, who lent me the unit, I decided to hold back. Now, on Monday, I noticed that someone had done the same as me and had managed to get hold of one for a couple of hours, and he's doing videos on it. So I thought, well, okay, he's doing it, so I'm just going to release it. And sometimes I think you just got to take these opportunities. I had an email and I had some messages back from Neural DSP having a go at me saying that I shouldn't have released the videos.
I think there is a phrase here that any of the gentlemen out there watching, when buying guitars, remember this: it's easier to seek forgiveness than it is permission.
Yeah.
At this point, I am stepping away from the conversation.
But one of the things I don't like is being told that I can't release a video when legally he's got no right to tell me what I can or I can't do on my own channel.
Yeah.
So I was a bit upset about that. Anyway, where are we? We've got loads of questions.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yes. So sorry, David. Yes. Yeah. Neural DSP. And honestly, mate, you won't be disappointed. It's great. It's going to be, and it will be, and it's going to get even better. Rick Kakuza is still using his Johnson Millennium. I think that's the amp. I think that is excellent. Yeah. Nice one. Analog for Life. The CLA plugs are what we call cheat codes.
Okay, fine. Go with it. I'm happy to be called a cheat. If it means I can turn around more jobs quickly, then oh no, I'm cheating. Sue me.
Aziz, hey there. Glad you guys reviewed the Neural DSP Cortex. Do you think it's worth the price for bass guitar? Do you know what, Max? I think that's really one of its strong points. The fact that sorry?
Aziz, not Max.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Aziz. Sorry. Yeah. Thanks, mate. Actually, I've lost my thing. Yes. Okay, Aziz. Okay.
Anything for bass?
Sorry. Yes, I think because it's got the dark glass models in there, I think it's really good. And I just plugged a bass into it just to see what it sounded like. And I was just like, oh, I tell you what, that is what I would use all the time for recording bass. I was really impressed with that.
Interesting.
CLA guitar is one of my go-to choices, but not using the distortion, running clean, or even the bypass setting. That's what Max says. Nice.
Yeah.
Aziz also says, oh, and do you feel the Boss Katana is a good pedal platform? Like you guys did a vid. Just want your opinion here. Yeah, I think that the Boss Katana is for the price is amazing, isn't it, James?
Yes. Oh, I would say if I was gigging, if I was a gigging guitar player, Katana would be the way forward.
It's lightweight, it's loud, it sounds great.
Yeah, I still haven't used it for the reason I bought it yet. I bought it to be an amp that I use for the rock school stuff I do, but of course there hasn't been any of those. So. But it's a great amp. It's a really cool amp. It can do lots of different tones in one amp, which is good.
I also personally think you made the right choice buying the 2x12. Yeah,
I like 2x12. What can I say? I nearly bought a 4x12 the other day as well.
4x12 what?
Just a 4x12 cabinet, because I thought if I'm gonna get the Marshall JCM 800, the studio, and I've got these, I've got that 2x12 Yamaha still that I'm probably going to, because it's quite a dark sound. If I get a 4x12, I can put some vintage 30s in one side and something else. I have like a stereo split, have a split stereo cab. That would be good for the studio, and you can pick them up dirt cheap.
Yeah, because no one wants 4x12s.
Yeah,
interesting.
And it will look cool in the studio. So I have a nice stack of amps on top of a 4x12. Looks cool.
Yeah, I think you're right. If I had a lot of space, I would probably go for a 4x12. Yeah, there's something about a 4x12.
60 square meters. That's all I'm saying.
John's going to send me a message. Cheers, John. That's great. Analog for Life. How is the 11 rack for a standalone effects unit? Can you use it as a standalone effects unit?
Yes. Yeah, you can bypass the amp models if you want.
Can you?
Yeah.
You can bypass the amp models and the speaker modeling and all that.
You can basically jump in at preamp. You can get ahead of the preamp, after the preamp, or before or after the power amp, in or out, and put before or after the speaker emulation. So you can get into the chain and out of the chain anywhere you like, pretty much.
It's funny why people don't see them in people's rigs. Then that's a strange thing. I wonder what that is.
The reason I found out that people don't tend to use them live is there was a belief that they were quite slow to change under MIDI. So if you went stomp, there was a gack.
Yeah. Has you got? Yeah.
There is a way around that. Now, what the problem was with this, and still is, obviously, because it's still an issue. If you buy like a generic Boss or Behringer foot switcher thing, one of those ART foot switchers, when you send a controller change or a patch change, it sends it on every MIDI channel. Because the unit responds to every MIDI channel, it tries to process every MIDI channel.
Oh, right.
You only send it on one channel and you tell the unit to respond to one channel. Seamless.
Oh, interesting.
There you go. You heard it here. Well, probably not first, but
interesting. Okay. Max Hodges says Def Leppard use those Digitech 2120s.
That's the one. The 2120 was the saw face, wasn't it?
Def Leppard use them.
Wow.
Well, I guess the whole album was done on Rockman, wasn't it? So why not? Yeah. How good does Hysteria sound? Still sounds great. The guitar sound amazing. And
I went to see the Hysteria tour last year, two years ago at the O2. Amazing, absolutely incredible. Great noise as well.
Yeah.
We took, because I live fairly close to the O2. When I was working with Avid, we took an 11 rack backstage to show the guys from Iron Maiden, Dave Murray and Adrian and Yannick Gers, to show them the 11 rack, and they said, "This thing is awesome." As in, we can get all our tone out of this thing. and I showed Steve Harris how to get the Steve. I've got a Steve Harris bass patch in here, that all fingers and ding 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 ding. And he went, "That's incredible, but could you imagine us putting one of those out front?" I said, "But you can't see any speakers anyway because it's all behind their printed drapes and stuff. You could use that back here." At which point he turned around and showed me a Marshall JMP1, which runs all their power amps.
Amazing. I love that. I used to love those 80s bands with like walls and walls of Marshalls, and it was and
one speaker stack is switched on.
Yeah, and if they're even using the Marshalls, it was just amazing. And what do you think is the best power supply for a pedal board and best pedal board that is well budget? Okay, best power supply. Oof.
Either a Voodoo Labs.
Voodoo Labs is pretty standard.
Labs stuff is pretty standard and pretty bomb proof. I've got the baby one and I've got the big one, the Pedal Power 2.
And I use the True Tone 1 spots. I've got a few of those.
They're very good.
Yeah, they're really good. I don't think you can go wrong now. I mean, don't go and get one of those cheap ones off of eBay for 12 quid.
No, because you'll not do yourself any favors.
Yeah, I think you've got to think about spending. I mean, depending on how many outputs you want, I think you've got to be
50 quid will get you 5-6 outputs on a.
I think more like 75 to 100 quid.
No, how much is they do a not Voodoo Labs T-Rax? What are they called?
The T-Rex do one, don't they?
Yes, and that one's
isolated. I don't know if they're isolated.
Oh, I couldn't say, but I had one of those for a while, and it's very good.
Is it? Oh, great!
I've still got it somewhere, so it's probably on another board somewhere for doing something, running about £5.
I hope that helps. Pedal board. The pedal train stuff's great. If you don't want it, huh?
Check out Fossboard. FOSSBOARD.
Oh.
It's what I use because it's studio, and I've got this thing for timber. It's all reclaimed timber.
Yeah, but that's not great for live.
No, but it's cheap and it's economical and it's saving the planet because it's reclaimed timber.
Or if you don't want to break it on stage, just go and get yourself
a pedal train. Yeah,
just get a pedal train. They come in all different sizes and
pedal train.
Yeah, and also the some of the if you get the right power supply, you can actually attach it underneath the unit, and it just keeps it all nice and neat, and it's great. I've got like a small pedal train for live and stuff, and okay, Rick Kakuza, and you guys gave the QC a pretty good review. Yeah, I know. It's literally, I think it's just the fact that they want to control who is giving reviews at the moment before it comes out, and that's fair enough. I can understand that they want everyone to give good reviews. It's such an exciting product. I think there's so many people waiting for it and waiting for reviews of it.
They are on the verge of doing a Stephen Slate on themselves, though. Announcing a product 18 months before it's actually ready.
I remember. Hey, I've been waiting for the Slate FGX, the FGX2 for about 5 years when he said that was going to be released, like a year later, and like 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but the virtual studio thing, the 8-channel studio thing, was 18 months late. The microphones were a year late. Don't get me wrong. What came out was great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go as far as to say game changing, but what we got is great stuff. But this is potentially a I hate the word game changing because it's not. It's still a thing that does a thing that's been around for a while. But I think this is going to become the new standard.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think it will be.
Kemper needs to be working on something pretty special to do the next thing.
Or don't mention Kempers. I got in trouble. God, people do not like you talking bad about Kempers.
What have I told you about dissing the stuff that people have spent their hard-earned pennies on?
I wasn't dissing it though. I wasn't dissing it. Anyway, David Labie says everyone talks about the response of the Quad Cortex. Feels and sounds like a real tube amp. Does the Quad Does the Quad Cortex feel better than the FX3 and the Boss GT1000? Okay, from my experience, so I've never used an XFX3. I've used the Boss GT1000. The Boss GT1000 feels amazing, and it does. It does. It's just like it's just instant. The Quad Cortex at the moment is great, and when I say
it's great, but you can feel it, can't you?
I can feel the Boss GT1000 is so instant. I mean, guys have done videos on this. I've gotten a lot of trouble with the Kemper, but guys that have got Kempers started commenting on that Quad Cortex video, saying that there is no such thing as latency in a Kemper. James?
Anywhere where there is analog to digital, digital to analog conversion, there is latency.
There is latency.
It can be really, really small or really, really big, but there is latency. I don't know why I went Mexican then, and I apologize if I offended anyone with my terrible accent, but anywhere there is A to D, D to A conversion, there is latency. End of, full stop. This is not up for debate. There just is.
So there's a guy that even did. Someone then defended my comment, and he posted a comment on the video saying there's a guy that's done this whole video on YouTube where he's gone through every single processor up to a certain date, like a few months ago, and he's tested the latency on all of these units. So we're talking, James, what's the one that you liked at NAMM?
Headrush.
GT1000. I think he did the XFX. He's done them all in GT1000 and did the Kemper. The Kemper came about halfway up. The GT1000 was the quickest, and you can feel it. You can actually feel it. But I think this. I think the Quad Cortex. Don't get me wrong. It's not as though it's not a thing where you play it and you go. You don't go dunk.
Yeah.
It's not like that. It's a really subtle thing that I don't think if you were playing it live, you probably wouldn't even notice. But when you
feel it, I bet I wouldn't.
Possibly. It's probably the same with me. With you hitting a V drum kit and me hitting a V drum kit, isn't it? It's that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, where are we? Okay, Max Hodges. James, you may recall I had a similar experiences a decade ago, beta testing for certain people and accidentally talking about it. What was that? Do you remember that, James?
I can't say because I'm not going to shoot Max in the foot, but I do remember about it. We've all done it. We've all said things we probably shouldn't, or posted images of something that's gone out early. And my wife said to me the other day, once it's out, it's out. You can delete it, you can retract it, you can take it off Facebook or whatever. Somebody has screenshot it. Someone's got it cached in their system somewhere. If that picture is out, it's out.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Andy Johns, on the neural DSP thing, do you have any concern that that they would take it out on the guy or gal who loaned it to you on the QC? That person may have some. So no, okay. So the person, they didn't loan it to me. It was basically he came to the studio to do some recording, and it was left here. So it wasn't actually. It was loaned for me to do that video. So no, I don't think it wasn't his fault. It's my fault completely. But yeah, good. Yeah, good. Thanks, Andy. Andy also says if he says about this. If he says about the same, I'll go with the Boss and save the money. The Boss is honestly the Boss. You will be amazed on how good the Boss feels. I think the neural DSP, if I'm honest, it has the edge on the sound because I think the Boss has a certain sound. The GT1000 has a sound. You either like it or you don't like it. I personally like it. The neural DSP is very authentic. I think with amplifier sounds. John Partridge, do you think a custom shop Tele is worth it? Yes, definitely. But I would say that.
But you are asking the man who has how many Telecasters?
One, two, well, what actual Fender Telecasters or Telecaster shaped guitars?
Telecaster shaped guitars.
1, 2, 3, only 4. It's not too bad.
Only 4. Okay, fair enough.
It's not too bad. Yeah, I do. I do think they're worth it. I think would I buy one brand new? I think they're really expensive brand new. I think I'd have a look around. If you really want a custom shop Tele, I'd have a look around for a second-hand one. I think you save a lot of money. Andy Johns love Boss. Yep. Yeah, Boss, and they're great. You know, Boss is a great company as well.
You don't hear about customer service issues with Boss, do you?
No, Boss.
You just don't.
Yeah, I've spoken to the guys at Boss. They sometimes send me stuff if something needs reviewing, and they're brilliant. Like Matt Knight is such a great bloke. Max Hodges, Laney amplification IoT studio, sticking my hand up for an amp with bottles in it. Bottles in it. Excellent. I had to think what bottles were.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. I know they're sort of the IoT studios more. It's aimed at the more high gain player, I think, from what I remember. Do you remember that, James?
I do. I don't have any experience with it, so I couldn't say for certain. But yeah, I agree, Max. There's a reason that boutique tube amp, valve amp manufacturers still exist. Because if there wasn't something in it, Kemper, Neural, Boss would have taken over the world with little boxes. There's got to be something in it, whether it's acoustic or psychoacoustic or just mental. There is a thing about having an amp moving air in front of you, behind you, near you, giving you the zhuzh, giving you the fizz.
Do you think it's going to change? It's got to change at some point. I mean, someone has made the comment before on one of the videos about, the cameras have gone into digital, and everyone's accepted that now.
Yeah.
Why haven't guitarists accepted that processors are the, and it is definitely getting that way. I think it's more and more. It is definitely getting that way.
I think it's funny because I was talking to this. I remember when I got married many moons ago, chatting to my photographer. I said, "Wow, you're still using film?" He said, "Yeah." I think when we get to about 24 megapixel cameras, this will tell you how long I got married. Maybe I might look at changing over. Of course, we're now way beyond 24 megapixels, and he's now shooting weddings on a digital camera because he said changing film is quite a lot quicker and cheaper. So they did get to a stage with still photography where you went from the analog format still looking better to the digital format now looking better and sharper and all that sort of stuff. I still like tube amps. I still like valve amps.
I really like valve amps. I think it's definitely. I mean, you can tell that things are definitely shifting that way because if you look at the metal community, I think the metal community or metal recordings now are done on it's samples. The majority is done on samples, drum samples, and Helix, Kemper.
That's because nobody can play bass drum parts that fast. I know people can. I can't.
Don't you say this? We're going to get in trouble again.
I know. It's funny. No such thing as bad publicity.
David Brose bought the Wampa Ratsbane. Oh, nice one. Great pedal for the price. How much are they? I'd like to know how much they are because they look interesting. I quite like those smaller pedals. You can get more of them on your pedal board. John Green, T-Rex fuel tank. Yep.
That's the one. Thank you.
Yep. Max Hodges, I've been using a Powerbank PW9 for more than 10 years. I don't know that.
I think that's one of the generic ones. I think Powerbank was that a Boss one or somebody like that? Just a generic power brick thing.
Oh, okay. The gig rig. Yeah, gig rig stuff's fantastic. Definitely. That's the sort of top end stuff. Definitely really good stuff. Really good stuff. It's a shame you don't see it in shops. I don't know if it's you just have to buy it from Gig Rig, but their stuff's like brilliant. Lefty Mike, I picked up a Line 6 M13 for 125. Wow, nice one. I'm surprised at the great sounds I'm able to get out of it, but the small screen does make it hard to dial in. Yeah, that's great though. Have you seen that? It's like a 13 effects.
Yes, yeah,
good, nice. Yeah.
This is good, Max. This is really good, and he's right. He's absolutely right. Because the speed of sound is a constant. Actually, it's not a constant. It does change with temperature, and it does change with altitude as well. But let's not go there.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm talking about a studio. I'm talking about being in a studio and feeling in a studio. If you're live, exactly as I said, you can't tell. There's no way. I used to gig with a Kemper.
So Max is saying standing a foot away from your cabinet gives you 1 millisecond of latency. Standing 8 feet away will therefore give you 8 milliseconds of latency.
It's not just about that; it's the way that it reacts as well, though, isn't it? But yeah, I couldn't agree more.
But live, yeah, absolutely right. You're not going to notice it. I mean, I've gigged with 11 racks. I've gigged with all sorts of stuff where there must be an element of latency. It's funny. I don't feel any issues with the 11 rack. They really got that thing right.
If it did, yeah, that feels really good. Actually, it does feel really good. Max says he still plays with tube amps. Excellent. John Partridge, what do you guys think of the new Jason Isbell Tele? Great spec and looks great. I've heard about this. Do you know what? And I'm going to show my ignorance. Who is Jason Isbell?
I have no idea.
And who made and who makes the Tele? Is it a Fender? Because I'd like to. If you can send us a link or tell us, and I'll pull it up on screen. Hank says, check out Michael Tuttle guitars if you want one of the best Teles you can get in the world.
Nice.
Good choice.
Another one Paul will be adding to his shopping list.
Stephen James, any thought on why Boss doesn't make mini versions of their pedals? They would sell heaps.
I don't know why they haven't.
Really good question. I know that
there's not much in them, really, is there? That it's a big die-cast metal box that's mostly empty, apart from a few electronic components.
I know that if anyone listens to the Guitar Nerds podcast, Matt Knight is part of that, and Matt Knight works for Boss, and he hates mini pedals. So,
but the irony of that is that a fuzz face is a huge, great die-cast metal thing on your board, and it's got about 6 components in it. I'm going to make because there's a Bonamassa version, there's an Eric Johnson version, and there's the standard Hendrix version, all which have a slight variation in the circuit and the components on the circuit. I'm going to make up all 3 circuits and have a switch, a couple of dip switches, so I can go right. I'll have the Hendrix one, the Bonamassa one inside one unit, because there's plenty of bloody space in there.
Have you got the mini or the full size?
Full size.
You got the full size one. Yeah, I mean, I guess when they designed that, they weren't thinking about pedal boards.
No, of course not. Oh, you mean? Oh,
yeah. I don't know what is it about Boss. I think it's such an iconic design, isn't it? Those Boss pedals and they're built like tanks, aren't they? Also,
all their molded boards, all those molded cases, they'd have to remake those, and I still see those out on the gigging circuit as well.
Well, they have. They've just released the new versions, which actually have. Which you can expand or yeah they've done that, and they've also done like a suitcase one, like a carry-on bag on wheels. Brilliant. Nice. Yeah, right. really well designed. Okay, David Brose says 129. Oh, that's for the Ratsbane. Nice. Yeah, nice. That's a good price. Nice. Hank Stone says, I don't think the feel of a real amp to digital versus analog cam to digital is a fair comparison, because the feel has to be so much more important on guitar versus feel of a cam. That's very true.
Yep.
Yes, that's so true, actually. It is because it's feel. It's not as though it's taking like an actual picture.
And it's not the same as the person taking the picture is doing the thing. The person taking the picture is not also in the picture, generally. And I know there are, there's modes of things.
Yeah. Max says his power bank's been on the ball for 20 years. Sam Whiting says,
don't fix it.
Yeah. Sam Whiting says, how you new to the channel? Thanks for the info about the Quad Cortex. No problem, mate. I flip between keeping my pre-order and giving it up daily. So any info on the videos are greatly appreciated. Yeah, I know you feel. I don't know. There's something they're not telling us. There's no way that there's something that they're holding back, that they're holding the units back for some reason. We don't know what it is.
I think there's some major issue.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't notice any major.
No, but to hold it back there, I reckon there's a reliability issue. There's something they found that in 6 months to a year of people using them, there's going to be an enormous recall or some issue on them. Because I mean, I've been fed all sorts of lines. Oh yeah, we heard they're in the container is on its way over. There's several thousand coming. We've got them all. They're on their way. Last time you spoke to Guitar, it was April, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's there's something
very poor customer service, both from Neural and from people like Guitar, who are holding deposits. And I'm not sure legally how you are withholding deposits for that long without a known date for a thing. I'm sure I'm not accountancy savvy in any way like that, but I think there's quite a lot of money's worth of deposits being held at the moment by various companies, and it's a bit naughty to not be emailing people and phoning don't phone me, because I don't need to phone every single person, but email me and say, we're really sorry, there's a delay, it's beyond our control, do you still want to keep your deposit, things like that.
Funny enough, that's the difference between Guitar and Andertons, because Andertons apparently have been emailing people,
right, but
Guitar haven't been. Yeah,
bit naughty.
I mean, Sam, I think it's worth. Okay, look, it's sold out. Let's put it that way. It's sold out, and the second batch is getting sold out. So, if you don't hold on to your pre-order,
you ain't getting one for a while.
And to be honest, mate, I think if you wait and then you don't like it, you can stick it on eBay. You'd easily get your money back, because I think they're hen's teeth, and they're going to be hen's teeth.
However, Sam, if you, like so many of our Muso brothers and sisters, have not worked for months and you need that 150 quid back to eat or feed your family, for God's sake, don't even think twice about it. Get your deposit back and eat for a week or two.
Yeah.
No piece of gear is worth starvation. And this is the biggest gearhead in the world.
And, at some point the buzz is going to die down and they'll be everywhere in the shops, and you better pick one up whenever you want.
Yeah.
I mean, some people have been absolutely crazy about.
Is this the closest thing to the opening day of an IKEA or the next sale, when there's actually punch ups in shops? I think this is the closest thing the guitar community's had to that in quite a long time, isn't it?
Yeah.
People diving in to get the Buzz Lightyear toy or whatever. Yeah.
Well, I've even seen people put them up for sale even before, people have put them on Reverb, and they're not even in the country, so they're selling their pre-orders for more than they're paying for them. It's just what are people like. Where are we? Okay. Julian says, "Sup guys." All right, Julian, how you doing?
All right.
David LeBee. My first tube amp was a PV JSX with a Mezza 4x12 cab. Very versatile. No. We don't see it often. Is that the JSX? Is that the Joe Satriani one?
I think it is. Yeah, there's a new one now. I've been looking at those because they're dirt cheap on eBay.
Are they?
Even a 51, the 5150, the 50 with the half size stack, they're dirt cheap as well now.
Are they? Yeah, not the original 5150s. I think they.
Oh, that's a monster amp though.
Yeah. I don't think. I think they're a bit of a premium because they don't make them anymore. John Partridge. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know much about the artist, but the look and the spec is great. I can't see his name on the guitar, so I don't look like a signature one, and I think that's a good thing. Yeah, I agree. I think anyone that's got, like those, when the guitar's actually got the signature on the guitar, I always hate that. I don't mind if it's behind the headstock, but I don't want to see it anywhere
on the headstock.
No.
I'd love a Clapton Strat.
Yeah, I'd like a Clapton Strat, but I don't want his signature on my guitar.
No, I quite like that.
Do you?
Yeah.
Such a weirdo.
We're allowed to differ, mate. That's the one.
No, absolutely. But that's it. I mean, have it behind the headstock. Have it like little signature behind the headstock. I don't think they do that anymore, do they?
I don't. I think the Clapton one is still on the headstock.
Do they? Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Where are we? Max says, I do also have modelers, but more plugins than God. But I choose to use my tube amps when possible. I've even gigged with the Mac running Scuff'em. Do you know I used to gig with a Mac running guitar rig?
Yeah.
And the Scuff'em, the S gear is really good.
It is one of the better ones, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I did a review for Pro Tools Expert once on that.
Did I went out about half an hour later and ordered it.
Oh, did you? Yeah, I've lost my license code for some reason. Cool. David Labie, I think neural DSP mainly don't want to be the next positive grid with the Spark. That's fair enough. That's fair enough, actually. I think there's a big. They already are, though. They already are. They've already done that, haven't they? Yeah. With the delivery time. But I think there's a difference, and I think the difference is about 1,100 quid difference. More than that, mate. Yeah. Max Hodges. Once upon a time, a manufacturer announced a product to be released in April. Then I found a clocking issue in testing due to the chipset issue, and no units shipped until September. Well, it could be something like that. It used to be announced at NAMM or Messe in Frankfurt, release a couple of months later, have stock a couple of months later. UA seem to get it right. When they announce they've got stock, if they can do it, and they're a big company, but they're not a huge company. No. If they can do it. Max says there's a global shipping issue at present. Manufacturers have stock sitting waiting in a container, and even while they can't get one. Well, I'd say yes, you're right, but they've managed to get them out to a few people and a few shops. I think it's more than that. I think there are shipping issues, but those shipping issues are. It used to take 2 days to get consignment to Germany. It now takes 10 to 20 days to get. But they're made in Europe. No, but I'm just giving that as an example. What was taking 2 days is now taking 20 days because of all the Brexit shenanigans. Okay. It ain't taking 3 months. Although a friend of ours in Australia has just received our Christmas card. Really? Just received it. Wow. Yeah. Which I thought was quite funny. David Bro says, I remember having to buy 4 tickets for Michael Jackson in 1984. Pre-ordered tickets 8 months in advance. And that was the standard for the whole tour. All that money held for 8 months. Yeah. That's probably I think that's different though, because you've got the thing. And I think with events, it's different. I think where you're waiting, that gig is happening that day. I mean, I usually book tickets for the Formula One Grand Prix a year in advance or about a year in advance. And they know those dates well ahead of time. We've been promised this unit. And I've had, guitar order people, salespeople on the phone going, yes, we're told it's coming. Well, it clearly hasn't. It does feel a little bit like GoFundMe at the moment. Could you imagine if you were a dad who had bought your son one of these for Christmas? Lucky son. Yeah, but no, son could be a proper little virtuoso guitarist, but wants to practice on headphones. Because let's face it, not everyone is able to have a 4x12 in their house. Sure. Could you imagine being the dad going, "I'm sorry, son, it's still not here." Yeah, you're right. Sucks. No, you're right. It's not right. It's not right. I think, some more communication is definitely due. Anyway, let's stop having a go. No, I think there's looking down the list. There's plenty more to come. Is there? Oh God. Max Hodges. Suffice to say, my favourite brand, James Knows Who, have a new model heading my way, but the shipping delay is looking like the end of April. I don't know who. You can tell us who that is, Max. I don't know who it is. Sean. I know he plays Ibanez guitars. He's an awkward slow hand as well. Is a what? An awkward slow hand. He's a lefty, like me. Why is it an awkward slow hand? It's not. It's just a thing. An awkward lefty. Oh, okay.
But Max plays left-handed guitars, and and I play right-handed. Anyway, sorry.
What is the difference between changing a speaker in a katana versus dialing in EQ changes to increase, say, bottom end, for example? Basically, can you achieve different speaker characteristics via EQ? That's a really good question.
It's a bit like mic modeling. Theoretically, if changing the microphone in front of a thing changes the EQ, changes the tone, which by nature is EQ, but it's not. It's more than that. Changing the speaker changes, or changing a microphone, which is in effect a reverse of a speaker. You're changing the frequency of response. You're changing the speed of different elements of the frequency response. So, for example, by changing the speaker, you might find the top end reacts quicker than the bottom end. Or you might find that, yes, theoretically, it might have a different EQ or a different tonal curve to it. But you might find you get that kind of cone breakup thing with different speakers. Speakers are, and I'm no expert, speakers are a thing that do make a massive difference. That theoretically you say, yes, I should be able to do this in EQ, but you just can't. It's not the same.
Probably the same as like guitar pickups. You could, you can EQ a certain pickup to make it sound a bit more like another pickup, but it's never going to respond. Yeah, yeah. Good question though. I've got one of those. I haven't used it yet because I bought it for live, but I've got one of those Line 6 cab things.
Cab loader things.
No, it's a speaker cab. It's an FRFR cab.
Oh, okay.
And you can change you can change it from greenbacks to creambacks.
All right, cool.
Little dial on the back. I'll have to try it out. Clive K says, cancelled my pre-order. Listen to the profiles. Not that impressed, as it sounded like work in progress. So we'll leave it at least a year. Using an FM3, which does it for me. Yeah, great. FM3. I've heard is really good.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing, and I don't blame you for cancelling your order. I think some of the, never judge a unit by its presets. I think Fractal have been really good at making amazing presets. I'm not sure. I think they're probably one of the only companies that actually do, that make amps that are useful, as opposed to going, this can do this. They can do this stupid thing.
They don't overcook them.
Yeah. If you write to Scuffham, they'll issue a new coport. Oh, cheers, Max. I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
Said manufacturer had stock at the time. Oh.
Don't know.
I bet the PCB has been made in China, probably.
More than likely.
David says Mesa Boogie Nomad 55 combo. Gosh, I missed that amp. Did you guys have
great amp? Really great amp.
Good. I think all boogies are good. The only thing about a boogie is the way that they are heavy. They are really. I used to have a Mark IV.
Mm-hmm.
God, that was heavy. Oh, I remember I had it up on. I was at a. Do you remember Terminal Studios?
Yes, down in London Bridge.
Yeah, around that area. Yeah. I was rehearsing. We were rehearsing for a tour there, and I remember having it up on a flight case, and someone knocked into it, and this whole Mesa Boogie Mark IV amp just went on the floor from about 4 foot up.
Mm-hmm.
The knobs were smashed and everything. Oh, that was a nightmare.
I was about to say, and then you picked the glass out of the carpet that had been impregnated, that were the valves.
No, it still worked. You just damaged all the front.
Oh
God, that's. But again, I think the only thing about boogie amps is if you get a sound and you go, oh, I just want a little bit more treble, and you turn up the treble, and then the whole sound changes, and then it's just like you have to constantly just fiddle around with it to get your sound, and then almost like tape up the knobs so they don't move. Max Hodges, Ibby. No,
don't know.
Left-handed not. He's not a lefty. He's not a lefty.
I thought you were left-handed. I'm terribly sorry. I thought you were left-handed. I've seen pictures of you playing live left-handed.
Maybe he's like that guy that can play. What's that guy?
Michelangelo.
That's it. He does both. He's that good. Reverse image on my iPhone Facebook Live. Speaker motor assemblies at different time domain responses.
Yes.
There you go. John Partridge, what's your guys' next guitar and valve amp purchase? Ooh, good one.
Guitar. I think will be a 335.
Nice.
Because it's what I haven't got yet. Or unless I see something, unless I at some point walk in a music shop and go, oh, that's nice. I want to come on to this at some point. I was watching a product video today, and one of the guys in the video was playing a Dan Electro, and I thought, now that's a really cool sound. It's very much a one sound guitar, but it's a cool sound, and they're not that expensive.
No, they're not. I think, yeah, I think you probably struggle with the build quality.
Yeah, but it's not like I'm going to gig with it. I want it to be a cool sound in the studio.
Yeah.
I get my mate Steve to tweak it and do all they have to do to make it as good as it can be. But I thought that's quite good fun for maybe £400-500 guitar. But I would like a 335 is the next thing on my shopping list, unless I see anything fun in the meantime.
Yeah, I think
I haven't been into a music shop for well over a year. That ain't gonna happen for a while.
A 335 is a good call. I think that's a. I haven't got any plans on guitars actually. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I quite fancy. A Silver Sky, PRS Silver Sky. Hold on, I'm just waiting for Mike Aiton's response. If he's in, I know he doesn't like them. But then I think I've got a Strat. Do I need? I've probably got at the moment. I'm probably the most satisfied that I've been in a long time with instruments. I think there is one that I could possibly get rid of. I'm thinking about. I'm also thinking about doing. It's not going to be a guitar, but I'm also thinking about doing a giveaway on the channel. For something. I don't think it might be like a pedal or something, but I'm thinking of sort of donating a pedal to someone.
I'm say my next guitar will be the opportunist, should we say, as in the one I see at a show or the one I see and go, oh, that's nice. So I don't know what it will be, but
there we go. There it is. There we go. There he is.
Right. Okay. Let's keep going. Keep playing on. I mean, amp wise, I don't know. If I see something on eBay that looks like fun, I might dive in for a few quid. But
yeah,
nice. At the moment, I do have to keep 1,500 quid reserved for the Quad Cortex, and that's quite a lot of cash at the moment.
Well, I've ordered we've ordered some of those Marshall Studios because they were just fantastic.
True. Yeah,
really impressed with those. Thought they were brilliant.
So between us, we'll have the Silver Jubilee, the Plexi, and I'll have the 800. That'll be fun.
Yeah, really impressed. I was really impressed with those amps. Anyway, what else? Where are we? Max says, "Can you write? I can write you." Try some speaker tones. Nice.
Max, don't.
Please don't. Yeah, please don't.
No, please don't. Yeah, just don't. Bullet points only, please. Bullet points only.
Max has also got a DC3 set there. That's a boogie.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Good amp.
It's a gravity well. Yeah, meaning it's kin heavy. A friend of mine used to gig with the Lone Star, Tuba 12 Lone Star, and that was
good amps. Really good sounding amp.
The daft thing was that was nearly as heavy as our bass player's 8x10 with the Ampeg head in the top of the box.
Oh gosh,
great! Oh, what a bass sound though! What a bass sound.
Yeah, really good bass sound. Jonathan, I currently play an American Strat E4 series. I don't know the E4, and I'm looking to purchase my next guitar. The choice is between a Tele or a Les Paul. Lean to Tele. Thoughts?
I would say Les Paul. Paul's going to say a Tele.
don't go anywhere near. Well, actually, no, that's wrong. I think Les Pauls are great. I don't really get on with Les Pauls at all. So I would always say a Tele. I think it's the most versatile guitar ever.
I think everyone should have a Les Paul type guitar. By that I mean a dual humbucker, solid body, heavy, lovely thing. I don't necessarily think it has to be a Les Paul anymore. Right, but because I've got probably, in fact, I've only got like 2 or 3 now. I've got 3 dual humbucker guitars, and all 3 sound very, very different. But my Les Paul is the last one I bought because I didn't like Les Pauls either. I thought I bought that guitar. I went, oh, this is amazing. It's the only Les Paul I've ever enjoyed playing. That one. And it's a studio. It's a generic, I think it's called Wine Red Studio. It's great.
If you're used to a Strat, and if you've never tried, I mean, I'm sure you have, but if you've never tried a Tele is nothing like the way a Strat sounds. It's a completely different beast. It is. They're so responsive, and they're not like the bridge pickup on a Tele is amazing because it's got that brass plate underneath it, and the way it reacts is just such an amazing sound, and it's much more gutsy than a Strat. And the neck pickup, it's so versatile. To everything you use, every position on a Telecaster is usable. It's brilliant.
I agree.
Collings 335. Yeah, people are loving those Collings at the moment.
Yeah, but I'm a guitar snob. I want a Gibson.
But Collings are arguably way better.
Really?
Oh yeah, they're proper
Okay.
good. Yeah, proper good.
Collings.
Collings 335. Yeah, it's like really good quality. Massive waiting list on them.
Oh really? Oh boo.
Oh yes. Max Hodges loved the Dan Electro reissues when they came out around the millennium. Yeah, I think they're cool. I think it's definitely something. It's got something.
It's it's a very different sound as well. It's not just, you couldn't say, oh, it sounds a bit like it sounds like a Dan Electro. That's what they sound like.
Mike Ayton, have you guys tried the Fender Twin Digital?
Yes, and I absolutely hated it because it sounded nothing like a Fender Twin.
Unless he means the new one, the Fender Twin. What's it called? The new version.
I don't know.
It's called what's it called? And they've done a Twin and they've done a Deluxe.
Do you know, it was so funny today. I was doing a video on vibrato effects.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to find some stock footage. So I'd say I was talking about, how amps in the olden days, you used to get reverb and vibrato on amps. And I thought it'd be great to have some stock footage of an old Fender. And I thought, I bet one of the free footage sites is going to have something. I put in Fender amp, and the first 4 pictures were vibreverbs, I was like, perfect.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome.
I'd love an old Fender. That would be the amp that finishes my collection. A Fender.
Yeah,
and a JC120. I saw a JC80 actually on eBay the other day. I thought, ooh, that's a bit different. Not the full fat 120, but yeah, I'll get a Fender at some point.
Still don't get it. I still don't get them.
Well, you're entitled to your opinion, wrong as it may be.
Fender. David Olsen, evening chaps. Apologies about the confusion. No problem, David. Mike, if you want a Les Paul, I'd rather have a PRS or an Eastman instead of a Gibson. I think, Gibson are still getting slated for their build quality, for their
and their marketing.
Yeah. It's funny. I mean, I think it's like, as James was saying, it's the name that you want. A Les Paul something. I've never really got them. I've never really got them with Les Pauls.
As I say, neither have I, until I had that one. And it appears now that gets used on every recording. I do. Every guitar track has got something of that on it.
I think that's probably the best thing to do. That's probably what I should do. I should just go and get myself a cheaper Les Paul as opposed to getting like a custom shop one. Because then it doesn't matter if it doesn't get used. It's just like it's there. Oh yeah, great. For the one time I pick it up a year, it gets picked up. Where are we next? Think about your preference for neck scale too. Tele and Les Paul feel very different. Yeah.
I think all guitars feel different. You could put 2 Strats together and they both feel different.
Yeah.
I think. I don't. I'm not one of these people. I think we've talked about this before. I'm not one of these people who has to have all the guitars set up the same. I want the guitar to feel right for itself, and if it means that one action's slightly higher than another, I've got to fight a bit more. That's that guitar. That's what that guitar brings to the party.
Yeah. David says he watched Dave Friedman's show and Josh Scott's show. Whose business will be done first, amps or pedals? Is that like whose business will pack up first? That's interesting.
I think pedals will always be around because of the price of pedals.
I mean, valves at some point, valves, because there's only a few companies now actually making valves.
Yes, there are, and there's only a few countries that are allowed to make them.
Are there?
Yeah, the valve making process is really filthy. It's not nice.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's proper. It's against every Paris treaty and it's a horrible process making a valve. I think it's Russia and China. Surprise, surprise, where you can still make valves.
Oh, that's interesting.
But there will always be valves because of the defense market.
Do they still use valves?
Yes.
Why?
Why would they do that? Think about that just for a moment.
Because they
Three
can't.
letters. 3 letters. Electromagnetic pulse.
What? And valves are not affected by EMPs.
Valves are not affected by EMP.
Wow. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. I was, and the radio sound better. Valve radio sound better. No, it's funny. I was many years ago. We were doing a tour in Germany, and I was chatting to this guy, and I said to him, "So, what part of the army are you?" He said, "Oh, we're the so and so." And I went, "So, what do you do then?" He said, "We drive tanks." And I went, oh, "Can you take us to see a tank?" And he went, "I could do better than that. You can drive one if you want." I went,
What?
Middle of December, like 2 foot of snow around us, and we're driving there's a video online that I did of my band, and we're driving this tank for a bit. It's so funny.
Oh, awesome. I'd love to do that.
And not far, just backwards and forwards a bit and turning the turret and using the sight thing, and it was really, really cool. But the comms systems in those, and I remember talking to someone at M Audio about this. Said, why do we still make the Solaris 8-channel PCI card? And he said, we sell thousands of those a year into the British MOD. They're used for tank comms.
So who was that? Who makes that?
It was an M Audio sound card, like an 8-channel IO card, and it's in tanks, yeah, because they're so reliable. They don't crash. The drivers are so stable; they just do not crash.
Wow. John suggested using a Nashville setup Tele if you want a Strat Tele combo. That's a good. That's good. Cool. Yeah. Max Hodges says find an older Heritage 335 type lovely guitars. Yeah, they are really, 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 really well built guitars. The only thing about Heritage for me is, and don't get me wrong, I'd love one. I just don't like the headstock.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Is Heritage? No, that's vintage, isn't it? Sorry, no. Different.
Oh no, Heritage. So Heritage basically bought up the old factory, the Gibson factory.
Yeah.
And I think it was the workers in there. They bought the factory and then they made their own Gibsons. Which was called Heritage. Yeah. Really amazing quality. Really, really good guitars. Tone Master. Yes, thanks, Low Fat. That's the one. Yes. So Fender have released a Tone Master Twin and a Tone Master Deluxe, and it's basically it's amp modeling,
right?
But it is just that. So it's a twin.
Yeah,
it's just a twin. It hasn't got like a twin in it. Hasn't got a Marshall JCM 800. Right. It's just that, and it's apparently like the weight is ridiculous. It's like nothing. They also got what are the lightweight speakers called?
Neodymium.
They're the ones. It's also got those in them. Incredibly lightweight, and also isn't affected. Like when you have to get a valve amp, you have to turn the power amp up to make it sound good. Yeah. Cool. It's not affected like that. I saw the pedal show and they did a review on it, and it didn't come out that well, I don't think. But I mean, I'd great. I think if you wanted a twin though, would you get a twin?
Yes,
I think I'd get a twin.
I wouldn't gig it.
Yeah,
the one I'd actually like is a Vibroverb or Vibraverb, depending on
Vibroverb. Yeah,
I'd love a Vibroverb because I think that's a really versatile. It's not quite a twin. It's not quite a cut glass. A twin and a Tele is, you could do some serious damage to people's windows with that thing.
Yeah.
But I think a twin and a 335 is a great combination.
David says, would you guys consider making a We Criticize Your Mix Song live video series when self-producing musician would send you their original songs so you can judge and maybe give tips? I'd love that. What do you think, James?
I would say, David, send us a mix and we'll do a live. We'll dedicate part of a live stream towards it. If you fancy that.
I think do you know what? I think I think it's a great idea. The only thing for me is that someone's done a mix. I would hate to criticize someone's mix because everyone
except mine, by the way.
I love criticizing James's. No, not your mixes. It's nothing to do with your mixes. Your mixes are great. I think the thing about mixing is and audio in general is that people always have an opinion. If you go on one of those websites, we all know those sort of audio discussion sites.
Is it the site that's about to change its name because it wasn't very correct?
Exactly. And you go up there and you post your mix up there. It doesn't matter how much experience that person has.
Bob Clearmountain could have done the mix. If you've said it's yours, someone's going to try and assassinate it. And that I agree with. But I think this is a friendly forum. I think we're a well-behaved bunch.
Yeah.
I think we could do it. I'll happily put a mix up to be critiqued.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
I'll happily start because actually I need the help. If I'm honest, I know where I want to go sonically. But I sometimes struggle getting there. And those are two different problems. A bad mix is not always a bad mix. It's a bad arrangement that's making the mix very difficult to do. A bad mix is sometimes a mix with lack of focus or lack of direction, as in you don't know where you want to end up. And then the last one, which is the most easy to fix, is a great arrangement and with a few easy to fix issues that you can go, right, this is taking up too much frequency response. This is doing that. I watched a snippet of a Jason Joshua video on Mix with the Masters TV the other day, and it was all about, if you want it louder, it's about cut, get the vocal and the bass as loud as you possibly can, get rid of everything else. And I was like, that's just not the way I work. Now, agreed, the sort of music I make versus the sort of music he works on are chalk and cheese. But
I've heard mixes that I've thought are terrible and they were massive hits. And I've heard mixes that I thought sounded unbelievable and they don't do anything. It's such a personal thing, isn't it? I think.
But personally, I would be happy to put a mix of mine up.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can play it, listen through to it. I would be totally happy to put a mix of mine up and have the community critique it. You and I could start it off, and then as long as everyone's nice and civilized and not throwing any too many punches, be nice. I'll go first happily.
That's a good idea.
I'll get set for next week. David, if you want to send one through as well, we'll do yours as well. Maybe not 2 a week, but a slight variation rather than just listening to Paul and I rattle on.
It could be a different video though, couldn't it? It could be a different. I don't mind doing 2 live streams. If it helps, I've actually thought, because sometimes these live streams, I quite enjoy doing them.
Yeah,
I always look forward to doing it. And so maybe I could do 2 a week.
We've got so much stuff we still haven't talked about tonight. It's actually quite funny.
Max Hodges said about Gibson, and rightly so, they get hammered. Gibson's quality control has always been very variable. It is, isn't it? It's such a shame. David, oh my word, where are we?
Dave Olson,
a Fender Toronado as a Les Paul alternative. Awesome.
Is that the one that looks like a 335, but has got a
no? That's the Starcaster, isn't it? 335, the hollow one, semi-hollow one.
Yeah,
I think it's the Starcaster. I think
that's the I can never remember. Yeah.
Mike says Rick Beato did an interesting video of all of his Les Pauls and how the pickups were different or not. Interesting.
He's got a guitar collection as well, hasn't he? I mean, he's got a hell of a collection.
Yeah, he loves the Les Paul. Hank Stone, when he means that Strats are 25.5 and Les Pauls are 24.5, so the strings feel way looser. He's very true. That's very true, Hank. They do feel very different. It's almost like you could have 10s on a Strat or a Tele, sorry, and have 11s on a Les Paul. Safety says, does it make sense to get a Fender Pro 2 Tele or wait for the Sir Classic T? Oh,
depends how many guitars your wife minds you having.
I'm gonna have to. You might have to remind me of the Classic Pro 2, Safety. The Sir Classics are, the build quality is amazing, and I love the necks on the Sirs. I think they're brilliant. I think for me, I think Fender. If you want a Fender, I really think have a look at the custom shops. If you can't afford a custom shop, have a look at a secondhand custom shop. The build quality is brilliant, and if you want a Tele, for me, I want a vintage Tele. If I want a Sir, that's a modern guitar, so that's a different guitar, and I've got both. And
when you say vintage, you don't mean actual vintage, do you? You mean vintage reissue.
Sorry, sorry.
When you say I've got a vintage Tele, you don't mean you've got a 56, or I don't even know when they came out, but you haven't got a 1960s Tele. You've got a 1962 reissue from 2006 or something like that.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
When people say, "Oh, I've got a 52 Les Paul," I'm like, "You've got a real 52 Les Paul? That must be." They go, "No, it's a reissue." It's like, so does that mean you bought it new? No, I bought it secondhand. So it might be a vintage guitar that's 30 years old. That's a reissue of a priceless guitar, which has always confused me.
Yeah, no, I get that. I can see that. I think so with the Fender custom shops, when they say something's like a 52. So if I pick up my
careful, he hasn't moved out of that seat all day.
I'll pick up that one. So everything about this guitar is exactly how they made it in 1952. So even down to the type of screws that they use.
Right. Okay.
It goes down to that sort of level of being anal. So yeah, everything is exactly as it would be, like neck shape, neck profile, and all that sort of stuff.
I bought a 60th anniversary Tele.
Yeah.
Because I said to the guy, I was in
with the gold hardware.
No, it's silver hardware.
Oh,
it's the 60th anniversary. It's lovely. But I bought it in Anaheim at NAMM because at the time it was $2 to the pound, and it was really cheap way to buy a guitar. And I must have tried. I've bought 3 or 4 guitars out in the States, and every time I've gone for not the most expensive one, that even if you bought it full tilt over there, it's still damn sight cheaper than over here. But that Tele, I tried 4 or 5, 6 different Teles, and that one was my favorite because it was the most Telecaster like. It wasn't trying to be something else. It was just trying to sound like a Tele. And one guy said, "But it's only got the three slider bridge," and I'm like, "Yeah, but the originals had that, so it has the same tuning issues that the originals had."
Yeah,
it sounds like a real one, and I like.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying there. So Safety, to answer your question,
get both.
Get both. I don't know. I think you'd have to try them. I think you'd have to try them. They're both great. I don't think you make a bad decision. David Brose says, "Well, let's go to Mike first, and we go back." Mike says, "Sir."
Yeah.
David Brose, China versus Russian on valves. I don't actually know.
Russia.
Russian.
Yeah, Russian.
Interesting.
That's only because Russia is where valves have been made the longest, and they've got the original kit. So if you buy what's known as a NOS valve, new old stock, the Russians are actually using the NOS valves and copying them. So they're making old stock valves, new old stock, whereas China are making new valves.
Right. Okay.
That is my understanding of it anyway.
Okay.
But I'm glad that everyone's agreeing with me. Nuclear war and the Holocaust and valves are immune from EMP. I'm glad I was right there, because I was kind of going out on a. I've seen this on Tele, and I can't remember if I'd actually seen it on Tele.
Yeah, you're far braver at saying things than me. I'd just go be like, oh, I'm not going to risk saying that, but you don't mind.
I don't mind being wrong.
N Money says, would you potentially make a video for good metal tones on the Boss Katana? The only thing is, if I did that, N Money, people would. This is one of these. You know how I was just talking about people giving comments on mixing. When you do metal tones, and you say, if I put in the description of the video, I'm going to do a metal tone. Instantly, there'd be like thumbs. There'd be the same amount of thumbs down as there would be thumbs up, because people are so particular, especially metal guitarists. They're very particular about a certain tone, and if I didn't play a certain riff or detune my guitar to a certain key,
or didn't have 7-string and it had points in every direction.
I've had it before. Where I did a video on like a high gain. I did a high gain video, and people, and it was high gain. No, technically, it was very high gain
for you.
Well, for anyone, it's high gain. But this guy just commented, "That's not high gain tone." I said, "Well, how much more gain?" No, I can't remember what the comment was. It was just, there was no talking round to him. It's like, what should I do then? And he went, "Not that."
When you're not playing, it's not high gain.
yeah. And then I did another video where I did some sort of metal tone, and I think I played a Foo Fighters riff, and people went nuts because Foo Fighters not metal apparently, and it's just like, that's not the point. So I try and stick away, because I'm not a metal guitar player. I try and stick away. Yeah, because I'm not a metal guitar player, I try and stick away from metal tones. But yeah, if I want to get lots of views and lots of thumbs down, maybe I should do it.
Maybe not.
Stephen James, do you think Fender and Gibson are shooting themselves in the foot by making more classic, relic, so expensive models, instead of making and promoting good quality mid-price guitars that the everyday musician can afford and don't have to change pickups to bring them up to pro quality? Great question.
I don't. I really don't. And do you know why? It's because there are so many other great brands who've gone the other way, who've gone from being budget guitars. Harley Benton, for example, are one we talk about fairly regularly, who've taken their rough and ready guitar approach and bought them into that mid-price, the £400 to £700 mark. Fender are always going to sell their boutique, custom shoppy, super lovely, super rare £2,000, £3,000, £5,000 guitars, because there are still people out there who buy those instruments. If you want a Fender, you want a good Fender, you want a real one, you're going to have to spend that sort of money.
I think Fender and Gibson have that sort of that history where that's the guitars that people lust after, those vintage guitars. And that's when, when Fender released, and when Gibson released those high performance Les Pauls and SGs and stuff, they don't do very well because people don't want that. People want the vintage guitars. If they wanted a high performance guitar, they would go to a more modern guitar company. I think it's the same with Fender.
Yeah.
I think Fender, those vintage looking Fenders and stuff are fantastic. It's a really good question though. Mike Ayton, BB used to play a twin.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Sat down as well.
Michael, Michael, hi guys. Yeah, hi Michael. David, I just have one waiting to be released. I'd like that.
Cool. Yeah, we'll have a listen to a track.
Yeah, nice one. Yeah, I'd love to hear it, mate. Yeah, definitely. Send it over.
Reach out to us via the main Studio Rats website, because you'll get Paul's email address and you can contact us directly.
Yep.
Do it as a WeTransfer or an email. Do make sure it's a WAV, because sending an MP3 will not do you any favors. And we'll share it.
Absolutely.
And give you our thoughts.
Yep. Safety says a video on newer or newest features of Luna you like and use the most, like an anniversary of your great videos when Luna came out last year around that time. Cheers, Safety. Yeah, and I really need to get back into seeing what the new features are with Luna. I'll do that.
I haven't touched Luna in so long because I haven't been in a UA workspace because of having to use the other stuff.
Yeah,
so much time.
Michael Ostruska says, Paul, I saw your Friedman sim video today. Have you tried using amp sim for client recording, or do you always mic real tube amps? I have done. I've used one of our biggest tracks with DWB was a Japanese band called Toshinki, which is like a really big sort of Japanese band, and
they're all 7'2".
It's all 7 foot. Very good, very good. And that was all amp sims, and that was like actually that was metal.
Yeah,
that was metal. Yeah, they're not a metal band, but the music we had to do was very metal, and that was all amp sims. So yes, I have done. I prefer to use amps. I prefer to use real amps if I had the choice. Hank says, I would happily offer my mixes up for the altar for sacrifice.
Likewise, Hank, you know how to reach out to us on the website. Reach out to Paul.
Hank's got my email address anyway. Maybe take people's demos and put some Studio Rack touches on it. That's a nice idea. I'm always looking at ways of.
We talked about that, Mike, didn't we? And I foolishly got busy and didn't do anything with them. So I've got some of Mike's demo ideas. I think where we are at the moment, we need to be a bit more structured. So let's stick to mixes at the moment. I think that's a good place to start, and then we'll see where we can diversify from that.
David says, Paul, do you see the guy who took his katana apart and he mounted the head onto his pedal board? Did he?
Good idea.
No, I completely understand. I think you explained that well.
Yeah.
Wow. No, I haven't seen that. I'm going to have a look at that. That's a great idea.
I know someone who took the guts out of. This was going back a long way. He took all the guts out of his Boss pedals and put them in racks, so he didn't have to reach down to the pedal board to tweak them.
Oh, that was who used to do that? He was a big English rack guy. He used to do like Dave Gilmore's racks and stuff and all that.
Pete Cornish.
Yeah, Pete Cornish used to do that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. That was his thing. Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to see that, David. I'll look that up tomorrow. Even though Hank says, even though mixing is very subjective, I think we could really benefit from your experience in solving common problems like masking, relative volumes, offer creative suggestions to enhance. Yeah, great, brilliant. Cheers, Hank. Yep, love to.
Yeah, we'll do one of those a week. That's always a nice thing to put in because obviously, I mean, these streams are getting longer and longer. It used to be an hour, then it was an hour and a half, and now we're at an hour and 47 minutes now tonight. But that's because you guys are being great and bringing us loads of questions and stuff. And if we can help, then that's a beautiful thing. And I think I can safely say I speak for Paul and myself that we like doing it. So
yeah, definitely. Oh yes, my highlight of the week at the moment.
You wait till the pub's open, he'll be gone.
Oh yeah, forget you lot. You lot are out. Sean Shepley, stick with your clean near breakup tones. Thanks. But yeah, I know I go on about that a lot, and I apologize. Hey Paul, I recall you recently sold your D20 and also recently got a Quad Cortex. I'm between the two. So I haven't. Cheers, John. I haven't got the Quad Cortex. I managed to borrow one for a couple of hours, but yes, I did sell. I did sell the D20. I sold the D20 because I tried out the Marshall amps and I was that impressed with them that the D20 is brilliant. It's a really great amp. I mean, anyone that's got a D20. It's, don't sell it. It's brilliant. I just, the Marshall amps, for what I needed them for, offered a bit more flexibility. And to be honest, I don't really need the 2 notes capability in it. I've got a 2 notes studio capture. What's it called?
Torpedo
studio down here, which I think sounds brilliant. So
you're welcome.
Yeah. The cat pedal board is immense. Great idea. Yeah, I'm so gonna have to have a look at that. That sounds a brilliant idea. What a great idea for a video. See, that's what I need. I need to do some things that are just a little bit crazy that that then creates like
a buzz.
But things that are useful, not things like clickbait. But I need to.
Yeah.
John says, "Oh, also, could you see what it sounds like to run the Cortex through the Katana Power Amp in?"
We will do all these sort of things. We'll also try our 2 Katanas together, so we run them in stereo, all that sort of stuff, because we can.
That's interesting. Never thought. The only thing about that is you would, but I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But you'd be turning off the amp. You'd be turning off the speaker simulator, I guess, to run through that.
Yeah, but you probably, but you've got so many outputs on the Quad Cortex. You could run a pair for your amp and then a pair for your PA.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder how much. I still don't think. Okay, I plugged a GT1000 into the Katana, and I really thought the GT1000 came alive when it's DI'd.
Right.
With using the amp sims.
Right.
So I imagine it's the same. But yeah, let's do it.
Wow, we've hit the bottom of the list.
We used to get. God, I remember when we used to get like 2 or 3 questions.
Well,
can you imagine if you're like the pedal show? If you're like that pedal show, and they've got like hundreds. I wonder how they
have a team of people fielding their questions though, and
do they?
Yeah, they do have a team. Couple of things I want to mention before we go.
Yeah.
Purely because I could. Interesting to see that your friend of mine, or my mate Sean Halley, who has now gone to work with the team at Warm Audio, they're pumping out a lot more guitar-centric products now. They've had their fuzz pedal and their, I think was it 2 fuzz pedals?
No, it's a phaser
and a fuzz, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Have now released a line of cables, which is interesting because they're actually using a Swiss company called Gotham Cable as the actual cable supplier, and it looks like they're using generic Neutrik XLRs, but they've got a very nice looking
Gotham Audio.
They've got a very nice looking jack variant, so going to try and get some of those. They look very interesting. Last thing. I'm putting together a crowdfunding project to try and get £10.5 million.
What?
Do you think I could raise £10.5 million?
Yeah, be fine, mate. Yeah, it'd be fine.
Because interestingly, a company called MJQ, and if you put mjq.co.uk.com, I think it is, are selling the old Decca recording studios in the Lillian Bayliss house, which is in Hampstead in North London.
Nice part of the world.
I mean, it's proper epic. I mean, it's like big studio facility, 3 main rooms, control rooms, probably 50, 60 other offices, and it's currently owned by the English National Opera, who have been using it for rehearsal space and storage and stuff. I mean, and as we all know, the arts have been completely decimated by all things COVID. And they, of course, are concerned that some developer is going to buy this beautiful building and convert it into apartments, which is probably, sadly, what's going to happen anyway, because it hasn't quite got the kudos of being an Air Lyndhurst or an Abbey Road, which is what saved those 2 studios at various times. But get online, Google this place. And interestingly as well, I didn't know that MJQ were quite such as big a deal in this world as they are. They do a whole load of kind of secondhand gear sales, but also studio property for sale, like houses with proper recording studio facilities in them. And I was like, these are pretty epic.
Yeah.
So if you get a chance, go to mjq.co.uk, have a look at the properties and have a look at some of the used equipment. It is, it's a proper list of gorgeous stuff. There's some amazing things on there. You go, oh, I'd like that. Oh, I'd like that. None of it's not eBay cheap. Let's not pretend it is. But yeah, there's some good stuff on there. Very interesting thing. And if anyone wants to donate to my £10 million crowdfunding to buy this studio, I'm sure I could run it for about an hour and a half without going bankrupt.
Is it the whole building? Is it just
building?
Oh, it's the whole building. Okay, that's going to be. I'm sorry, that is going to be flats.
£10.5 million in Hampstead, though. I tell you, I mean, they're obviously going to push for higher offers because some developer is going to put in a ridiculous bid knowing they can sell these for £1 million apartments. But they want to keep it as a music stroke arts facility. If you could find a business case for this, or if a, you know, short of maybe an Andrew Lloyd Webber or a McCartney going in with a bundle of cash going, yeah, we'll save it. I don't think it's going to be anything other than apartments in a year.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it?
It's such a shame. But wow, I mean, what a piece of history! And everyone and their aunties recorded there.
Hank says he wrote his college thesis and designed a predictive model that successfully predicted the success or failure of Kickstarter projects, launching with a goal of at least 100K with 90% accuracy. Wow.
If you could expand that up to 10 million.
He's a sharp fella.
Yes. Yes. Awesome. Mike's right. MJQ are auctioneers and valuers. But their site is very interesting. I mean, there's loads of great high-tech gear on there and some real vintage stuff, some real vintage mic pre's and tape machines and some sort of celebrity stuff as well, which is quite interesting.
Nice. Yeah, nice.
So I just thought I'd share that because, hey, I wrote it down. Otherwise, it's going to be out old news next week. I need to go, babe. I do too. I need to have a beer because I've had one of those days.
Oh, nice.
I've had one of those days, and I don't normally drink midweek anymore, but I have had one of those days. It's been great fun tonight. Thank you, Paul. Thank you out there for joining us and making it fun. Same bat time, same bat channel next week. Guys, if you want to send some mixes to us for our mix review, let's not call it a critique because it makes it sound harsh, but a mix review or something like that. Mix pointers. Let's call it mix pointers. I like that. That's a good one because it doesn't sound like we know what we're actually doing. It just says we're helping people in the right direction. Okay. But we'll be here at 8 o'clock next Wednesday. Join us if you can. But from myself and from him over there.
It's funny. Why is it opposite ways? Why am I pointing the opposite way to you?
I know. This is my left hand. I'm left-handed, so it would, yeah.
Come on, let's see if we can do this. Get your head nearer to that side. Closer. Sit.
Oh,
bit slow, but okay.
Actors we should not be. Good night, everyone. See you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.